I'm here with Jeff Hollan, who is the Senior Program Manager for Azure Functions. I think that's right.
That's it.
Yeah, I got that one right. And, well, I think we should probably talk about Azure Functions. What do you reckon?
I love talking about Azure Functions.
Really?
Yeah, there are a few things I would want to talk about more, so let's do it.
Well, okay. I'm going to ask then,
Yeah.
so now we got Azure Functions version 2. What's next?
Ooh, that's a very good one. So a few things that are coming up, a few things that are next are really around taking version 2 and making sure that it's doing everything people need it to do for enterprise scenarios. So Key Vault integration is a big one.
Nice.
We've done some work recently to make it so that you can have secrets in Key Vault, you can get those in Azure Functions. We're going to keep improving that story so that when you have like secret rotation, when you need to change those secrets, stuff like VNet integration, stuff like giving you the ability to have reliable performance in any scenario. These are all types of things that like kind of in that enterprise bucket, that's a big area that we've been focusing on over the last few weeks and that you'll start seeing announcements and releases come out over the next few weeks as well.
Ah, that's very cool. Yeah, I've been doing a little bit with Key Vault, but never in terms of functions. So how would that integration work?
It's really nice. Like most things in serverless, the less code you have to write, the better.
Yep.
So the way that it works, you actually don't have to change your code at all. So let's say you have an Azure function that needs a key for Cosmos DB.
Yep.
In your code, just like you would with any function, you grab that like value, usually it's an environment variable. And in Azure Functions today, instead of having to put the key directly in an environment variable, you go to that environment variable and you say, actually grab this from Key Vault.
Yep.
And we will automatically for you go and talk to Key Vault, authenticate in a secure way through managed identities, grab that secret and inject it into your code without you having to, so you just write your code, it works how you're used to it doing, but by changing these settings now you're able to fetch and retrieve secrets securely through Key Vault for you.
That's really cool. Now I was at the meetup that was in Melbourne with you weren't. You were the star. Let's go.
Right.
Let's be honest.
I was the only speaker, so it's easy to say. I'll agree with you on that one.
But one of the things that
I guess you and Peter spoke for a bit, but anyway.
Oh, we did, yeah. But one of the things that really grabbed my attention there was that you managed to kind of get rid of the cold start in some scenarios. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the other things that's going to bring some of these features like VNet is what we call the Azure Functions Premium Plan. This is a mode that you can turn any of your functions into in or out on demand. So usually we talk about functions in the consumption plan. This is where we get servers for you on demand. But even today I was talking to a customer and they said, hey, every day at 5 o'clock p.m., I get a heap load of data that gets dropped in a queue because it's the end of the day processing. And what I would love to do is at 4:50 p.m., go and make sure that my functions are ready to go, that I can maybe pre-scale them or pre-warm them up.
Absolutely.
It's a common ask so that when 5 o'clock hits, it's like instantly drained. And like today we do it pretty fast, but it takes us some time to be like, oh, we've got to go, we've got to go, we've got to grow. So the premium plan, when you put your functions in that mode, will give you the ability to say, hey, for this app, I want to pre-scale maybe 1 core, maybe 50 cores, whatever's right for your scenario for what you need. Part of that is that it's ready for the workload, but the other part is you won't ever hit cold start. Your app's ready to go, it's warm all of the time. So it's not, like everyone might not need it, but for people who want those types of scenarios, who they're like, look, I'm okay to maybe pay a little bit in advance so I don't hit cold start, it's a really nice piece of functionality.
And it's one of those really difficult issues to get rid of, right? Cold start's always, we all know that, the first time you hit a web server, it's gonna just warm up. So getting rid of that is really cool.
Yeah.
Now another thing that we also spoke a little bit about that back then was Azure Functions open source, it's on GitHub. How do you manage that with the community? Like, what is the workflow and what is the input from the community in this project? Yeah,
it's actually, in some areas, it's been really exciting to see, especially something like durable functions. So Azure Durable Functions is an extension to Azure Functions. It lets you write like function orchestration workflows. So that project, like all of Azure Functions, it's up on GitHub. All of our backlog is there. In fact, when you say like what's coming, anyone can go to github.com, find Azure Functions and see our issues, see what people are working on, what's being checked in. So all of it's there in the open, but what's really exciting to see is sometimes customers will come to us and they'll say, hey Jeff, what I would love to see durable functions do is this, that, and the other. I'm like, you know what, that's a great idea. I'll add it on our backlog. 2 or 3 days later, we might get a ping that's like, hey, you have a new pull request. Someone from the community has gone ahead. Maybe it's this person. They're like, I'm not waiting for Jeff. He's taken 3 days. How long does it take to ship something? And we'll merge that in. So there's a number of contributions we've gotten from the community. It takes a lot of work. It really does. I think we're learning like, it's not always great when anybody in the world can open up a bug on your product and it stays there until you fix it. And
Yes.
so managing all of that has taken some effort, but being able to both be transparent, be open, be portable, but also invite the community to help us make this product what they want it to be has been a cool journey to be on.
Because you get sort of first-hand knowledge of what your customers want, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You see it, and it's even interesting too. We've had a few people who've run into issues with their functions, like they're running into a bug, and rather than just being like, well, this is a black box, they'll be like, oh, I can see exactly in your code what's happening here, and either maybe if it is a bug, they can help us fix it, or they're like, oh, this is what it's doing, and they can help do it. So it even helps them debug their code too. So it's kind of a nice give and take on both sides.
Yeah, for sure, and it's. I've always been a big fan of open source, and Microsoft is it the world's biggest contributor now to open source?
On GitHub, I think like there's different pivots, but I think in Linux, I think it's the number one contributor, and then GitHub in general, I think GitHub's either the number one or the number two largest like number of commits from that organization. So.
Yeah, that's really cool.